Okay, welcome back. So, Nathan, we're showing a home. We've got buyers there with us. We're in a particular home, and somebody says, I hate this living room.
Right. Now we're assuming that we've got some baseline established, right? We know what kind of home they want. We understand the neighborhood. We've taken care of any other major issues. You know, there are no plumbing leaks and nothing's spewing water all over, right? So we're in a home that's a likely candidate, and they like everything about it, but they hate that living room.
Okay?
Okay, so we got to respect, respond, redirect. Respect.
Yeah, I'm thinking if I was the agent, I'd be like, but you like the neighborhood, and you said you like the price, and
Right.
You know, and those
Well,
are,
keep in mind.
those are facts,
Yeah, those are facts.
and there's your sword.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know what? I should actually get a sword.
You should probably get one.
I've got a
That'd be
samurai.
a cool thing. I've got a guitar.
Yeah, that's not quite the same.
Not the same. No.
So here we are. Somebody says, I don't like the living room. How do you go from there?
Okay, so remember, we're trying to feed them what they're hungry for, right? And they're probably hungry for how something feels. Or if they're talking about, if they're saying that, there is obviously some layout, some function, something, some picture they have in their minds of what the living room would be. And most of these pictures are a soft focus lens and a Frank Capra film, right? It's there's a lot of butterflies and a lot of rainbows in their picture of the ideal living room. Right?
Well, and I'm thinking even sometimes it can just be fear. Like I did an inspection yesterday where you had the buyers that were there, and the parents were in Texas.
Right.
And the parents wanted me to relay through them everything that I was telling them. And I go through them 2 hours, or however long it takes. Mm-hmm. So I'm thinking, here's going to be 2 hours that's going to turn into 5 because we're playing Oreo.
Right. We got the middleman in there.
There's a lot of fear going on, and I'm thinking maybe somebody just doesn't like the living room because they love the house and they are feeling fear because they're about to spend how many hundreds of thousands of dollars and they need to blame something.
Yeah, so it will always be one of 3 things. Okay. It'll always be fear. Number 1 is fear. Mm-hmm. The second one is some disparity between what they pictured in their mind and what they're actually looking at. It doesn't look the same to them. So the first one is fear. The second one is disparity. The third one, and kind of the easiest one to overcome if you're inside of their story, is the list, right? The dreaded list. Well, it has to be this and this and this and this and this. Well, yeah. Why? We have to know why it has to be that. So it's always one of those 3 things.
And that goes back to the video that you had mentioned briefly about the power of why.
Power of why. Yeah, so we have to figure out their why, otherwise we're not in their story. So somebody says, I really hate this living room, but I like the rest of the house. Then I'm not going to talk about why the living room is good. Mm-hmm. I'm going to say, you pictured something different for the living room. Tell me what it was that you had in your mind.
That is so evil because it is so disarming.
It's disarming. And they're going to say, well, we have this big couch and it's got to fit here. What's funny is very, very often, this happens a lot in every situation, very often they'll start to talk themselves into it. Mm-hmm. So they'll say, well, what I had in mind was this, and we have this big couch and it's an L shape and it's not going to fit in this living room. But of course, I suppose we could put that couch downstairs and then up here, because I do have that planned. And that would look really nice in that corner. Yeah, well, what are you going to do? Where are you going to put the TV? Well, we put the TV in the family room with the couch. And then this just, So sometimes they'll talk themselves into it. But all you're trying to do is figure out what they're hungry for. That's what you have to feed them. You can't feed them information. Well, this living room is actually really, really good. I think you would like this living room because it's better constructed. Nobody cares. Mm-hmm. They care what they pictured. So you want to get them to reveal what it is that they pictured and then just let them talk. All you're doing when you ask follow-up questions is not finding out more about rooms. You're finding more about what their vision was, what they have in their mind that makes butterflies come out and music play. So that satisfies one of them. The other one was fear. If there's a third party involved, if they're buying one for their aging parents, for example, then they're afraid that their parents won't like the living room, right? So how do you deal with that? And again, it's the same thing. You have to feed them what they're hungry for. What they're hungry for is they want their parents to be happy. They want their parents to be safe. They want their parents to think that they did their due diligence. So help them solve that problem. Find out what their story is around their parents and help them address that story by walking with them a little bit. The checklist is a much easier one.
Yes.
Right? So tell me what you pictured for the living room. I know you say you don't like it. Help me understand a little bit more of what the ideal living room is for you so that I can help you get that.
Yeah, and now I go back to my buddy, the one with our same hairstyle, and he
obviously
is
more intelligent just based on that alone, right?
Yeah, solar panel for intelligence.
Intelligence.
We'll say that.
Well, yeah. More appropriate.
And so he, you get from him, his response is gonna be that sort of thing, and it's because if the living room really doesn't work, he's not gonna sell you the house.
No. Wait. But I thought we wanted a commission, so I thought that we need to sell them the house. Just get them in the house.
Uh-huh.
Let's just get them in the house and hit our number. I had a goal for this month, and I want to hit my number. So
because if you're the realtor, it's all about you.
Yeah. It's all about me.
And me, the buyer. I picked that up real quick.
Long-term, schmom-term, they're going to move 10 years from now anyway. And 10 years from now, I'll be in a much larger market where I can get past these yokels and get some real stuff done. Right?
You know, and as the home inspector, I find that it sure is a lot of fun to just get people call me and say, I need an inspection done. I don't get those calls that say, well, what's your price and what do you do? And
no.
and I can tell they're going to go call 6 other people and they're going to take the cheap guy, which is the guy who just got fired at the grocery store yesterday. And I just don't have to take those calls anymore. And neither do you as the realtor, you know, after you've been a number of years serving people well.
I have a brother who's a contractor up in Idaho. And he has built hundreds of homes and has never had one single judgment, legal action, lawsuit, anything ever filed on one of his properties, which is pretty unusual for a contractor, right? Everybody wants to get him for something. But he actually sits down with families and he'll say, and he says it just really throws him, he'll say, this is more home than you can afford.
Oh, wow.
He'll say, look, you told me earlier that what you want is for your family to have, and then he describes the experience they want their family to have. He doesn't describe the home they wanted their family to have. Mm-hmm. He uses all of the words that he can recall, he's got a great memory, about what they described it feeling like and what experience and what schools and what everything else. And he says, I want you to have that experience. If you're having to go without bread to make your house payment, is that going to provide you that experience? It's your call. It's just something I want you to think about. What if?
I'm putting myself in that situation. Yeah. My first thing is I'm thinking, do your job, be the contractor, let me decide what I can afford. And my second thought is, my goodness, you care about me.
Oh, yeah. It takes them about 10 minutes. And then they're saying, I love this guy. He says, because he says, it's your call. What if? And then he presents an option, but the option is what they were hungry for.
Right.
Right? What if instead of doing this kind of entryway, we did this one and it would save you X number of dollars, but here's what it would feel like. The kids come home, they go through here. The first thing they see is this nice open area with plenty of light. You're there to greet them and it feels like home to them. And that's what you told me earlier, that you wanted something that really feels like home. But it'd save you like 30 grand.
Yeah, and who's going to give a bad review to a guy who is willing to take money out of his pocket to serve you well?
Right. So it's the same kind of thing. Feed them what they're hungry for. So respect them regardless of their behavior. Respect that what they're going through is real to them. If they're first-time home buyers and they're taking so much of your time, you just want to tear your hair out, which I had hair once. You have to respect that for them. This is in that case, probably an incredibly fearful sort of situation. You got to go with that because your response is to disarm and to remove their fear and to walk with them the direction that they were going. if they say, you know, we've got to make this decision, we got to do this right because we can't do that, and we don't want to, and we're expecting our first child, and yeah, walk with them a little bit. Say, yeah, I understand. You want to save money because you need your money to take care of your family and to take care of that baby, don't you? Yeah. Well, that's what I want. I have several kids of my own, and top priority is to make sure that your baby is safe. So I want to make sure that I get you in a position where you've used your money so wisely and gotten so much value for it that you don't have to worry about the security of your family. So let's talk about what that would feel like to you.
That's awesome. Like, we haven't even begun to go down the road of how to use these same tools with a teenager or the angry spouse. We haven't. I have one where I had a really good client who's been with me for, I'm going to say 20 years. And they had an old lady who had a mold guy come in, and he told her that her house was full of mold, and he was going to spray his magic spray and charge her a whole bunch of money. And so she called me livid.
Right.
And I did it wrong. I didn't do the 3 R's. I didn't know that existed at the time. I just said, and it was like a year previous. It was crazy before then. So I went back and I thought I was being really good customer service, and I basically just unloaded information on her. But she had decided that I was the devil, and I didn't get into her story. I'm going to look bad, but I'm going to say this anyway. I thought, here we have an old lady who just wants me to be the devil, and there's nothing I can do. So I might as well just take that role. Yeah,
her house isn't the only thing full of mold.
And, so there's any number of examples that we could go with, but we're kind of out of time. So there are some options, if you want to get further trained on this subject. There is NateWalkerConsulting.com.
It's been lots of fun to see lives change all over the world with this thing. So
he rocks.